The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, the Greg Cherry brand, and of course, the hometown station, if you will, NoDQ.com. Hello, everybody, again. Good to see everybody in the chat room already piling in and people coming in across the multiverse. Every channel's got somebody going on. Appreciate you. Muhammad, good to see you with your standard greeting as always. Always a pleasure. Walter, good to see you again. Josh, good to see you. Matt, good to see you. And JJ, of course, is here as well. I know it's late on a Thursday night, so we're not going to get too long-winded here. I know it's surprising coming from me. But I've got my Jack and, well, it's Pepsi this week, not Coke because I don't have any Coke on it. Jack and Coke poured. So let's get into it. I am going to talk very simply today. We're going to do some plugs at the end, as we do here on any of the Jeff Meacham streams, because there's always something to promote when you've got me involved in the stream. But I want to talk about the big signing that took place earlier this week, because I'm not going to be a part of open mic night. Didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot about it. Jade Cargill is now officially part of WWE, has reported to the Performance Center, and she will be under the watchful eye of those that are employed by WWE and their training facility in Orlando, Florida. So that has been the big news of the week, at least so far. Definitely looking forward to all that is coming up from that bitch, as she was known in AEW. I, for one, am looking forward to what could be for Miss Cargill. And I personally wholeheartedly agree with JJ's assessment that he gave this past Tuesday on Staffboy Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou, in that he feels, and again, I agree wholeheartedly with it, that she should not be part of active WWE programming right away. Right? Keep it to PC. Let her work out whatever kinks are left in her in-ring presentation. And I say that not to be derogatory, not to demean Jade Cargill, but I have maintained that the sole flaw in her presentation at this point has been her in-ring work, and that it all comes down to that being what is reconciled with her debut on television. And I think that keeping her off television would be the exact way to go. Just let her train. Let her train long. Let her work out all of the various things that need to be worked on if you're going to transition from being anywhere else in WWE into WWE. I like the idea of debuting at the Royal Rumble. Have her be a surprise entrant. And I even say have her win the damn thing. And I think you just said that on Tuesday. I could be wrong there. Forgive me, Judah, if I'm wrong on that part of the going along with your statement. It's not a well-kept secret that at least it appears that they are keeping Becky Lynch busy until her program with Rhea Ripley resumes going into Philadelphia in WrestleMania 40. So I would have Jade Cargill debut in WWE at the Royal Rumble, win the thing, and challenge the other women's champion. I say other, not meaning less than, just different than. And at this point right now, it's Io Sky. I agree with you. It probably won't be Io Sky come Royal Rumble. So whoever it is, because you've got the lingering, the looming, I should say, idea that it'll be Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 40. That match, that storyline doesn't need a championship. It's about Bianca completing the quartet of defeating the Horsewomen. Of course, she beat Becky Lynch famously. She beat Sasha Banks in a tremendous main event at WrestleMania a couple years back, and she has victory over Bayley. So I would say Charlotte is that crown jewel. She's the queen, right? So that's how I would lay this out. You've got three amazing women's storylines winning this. You've got Becky against Rhea, you've got Jade Cargill debuting and against the SmackDown champion, and you've got Bianca and Charlotte. Can't ask for a whole lot more other than the women's tag titles possibly being booked properly. But that's a whole other show, a whole other topic, maybe for a different day. So that's what I would do with Jade. I'm so happy for her in that I have not been exactly nice about my opinion of Jade Cargill as far as her in-ring stuff, and I am not too proud enough to admit that I was wrong on that front. She has shown that she is into bettering her presentation, into being the best complete overall package she can be in wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, right? So I am here for that. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her fans, like JJ Williams. Just here is to the newest WWE superstar, and may her future be lit brightly going forward. And yes, we've all done the Jadeberg thing, or at least not we all. Like, they can't say we all because not everybody said that. Yeah, it was really cool. We were talking about it a lot during the course of the week, that it felt like almost akin to the old Monday Night Wars era, in that, somebody from the other company jumped and it was made a big deal. You think about X-Pac, you think about The Big Show, you think about the going the other way, Hall and Nash and Piper, and even Hogan. He signed in '94 with WCW. You think about when Sting debuted for WWE finally in 2014. Just things like that. It would definitely be. It definitely felt like it was made more of a big deal than I anticipated. So, I don't know if this is necessarily the case. Walter, he says TK, Tony Khan did the dumbest thing and made her look so strong right before she left. Way to put out the competition. You know what? I think Tony, at least I'm willing to give Tony the benefit of the doubt here, in that he recognizes they're not competition. WWE and AEW are very much like WWF and WCW in 1991 and 1993. AEW might as well be number 22 as opposed to number 2 in wrestling in North America. They're just not there. They've got an unbelievable roster. They've got great matches. They even have compelling storylines, but they're not WWE. And I think Tony, looking like the bigger man here and wishing Jade well, does wonders for Tony's rep, at least for me personally. So that is what I would, prefer to see, is Jade, getting that big push right away, getting that big hype right away. She's not the kind of talent in this day and age that you send to NXT television for polishing, for fine tuning. You keep her off of television. You make us want her to come back. You make us salivate at the idea of when she's going to return. And then when she does, it's a moment. And that's what wrestling, especially in this era of my fandom, and that goes back, over 30 years now, almost 33 years. It'll be 33 years next week, which is crazy. Think about that. You want it to be just as much about the moments and the memories as you do about the matches. That's why sports entertainment is a more viable commodity than just straight professional wrestling, at least for my money. And like I have said repeatedly, if you've become a wrestling fan post 1983, you're a sports entertainment fan, whether you like it or not. So I stand by that, and I will stand by that. But that'll be a hill I gladly die on with a smile on my face because I'm right. So, and the other news with AEW related this week is the idea, the rumor that's swirling around that Tony didn't really debunk, if I'm being honest. He just kind of glossed over it. The idea that the idea that they may be purchasing my brain just did not make that happen. Got distracted by the chat room. Oh, might be buying New Japan. And, there's this news talking about New Japan and CMLL and MLW kind of working together. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. And Josh for the super chat, and Jade versus Senators, Daniel, please, if you know, you know. I know. If you're a fan of the Star Wars universe, especially in the Disney Plus era, you know what we're talking about. That guy needs to get his ass smacked right in his dumb ass face. Anyhow, so I don't disagree with the idea of the union of those companies. My issue is my memory and my remembering that the other companies tried before to come together to have a super card, Super Clash, 1985. Anybody else remember that if you're old enough? If not, you've seen it on the network. Jim Crockett Promotions, AWA, some of the other territories came together to try to compete on a pay-per-view level with Vince and the WWF. It didn't work. So you don't, I still, even now, don't try to compete with WWE, except acknowledge that they are the brand, and make your presentation can't miss. Make your television shows, make your pay-per-views, make your social media presence something that we all have to see, that we desperately need to see as fans. Let the draws be organic. So anyway, that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. 2-0 in the chat room. Read the ticker. I got no problem doing that, but I am going to do it for money because I just want to. So there is that. There was a couple of, I got asked this a couple times this week, so I'm not just singling one person out because they're in the chat room and I owe them bet money. I don't think it's a matter of Tony Khan being willing to work with WWE. It's a matter of WWE acknowledging AEW outright, acknowledging Impact outright more than they did with Mickie James. I don't know if we'll ever see that proverbial forbidden door be blasted off its hinges and we get this super card that we've all dreamed about our entire fandom. We were hopeful of that with WCW and ECW, excuse me, and it was bad. It just wasn't a good presentation. So I don't know if I really want to see the working together. I would be more prone to, or I would be more appreciative of them not purposely burying each other or not trying to derail the other side, but working together, I think, is a big stretch from that. There are certain people in wrestling that I, would like to see have that crossover. You talk about, Adam Copeland's contract possibly, being a thing where he's no longer with WWE. And, we talked about during the prediction show on NoDQ about an hour and a half ago, will we see Adam Copeland in Seattle this Sunday? Will we see him be involved in his the Christian Cage Darby Allin match or involved at all in the show? You just don't know. But, would I like to see that, presentation be leading to Christian versus Edge at WrestleMania in a retirement match, right? I mean, or it's Edge's last match, because we know that's coming. Bryan Danielson's talking about it's his last year. Just there are a lot of possibilities with the idea that the evil empire is no longer run by the evil emperor, right? There's a long way to go to get to that point, and I don't know if necessarily I'm like hungering for it as much as I would have been in the 90s and 2000s, just because I enjoy being able to see the different presentations. I'm very much like Noah Foster in that I enjoy getting my WWE fix separate from my AEW fix, separate from my Impact fix, separate from my independent fix when I get to go to an indie show, separate from my pay-per-view and premium event fix. It's all different. And it's all the wrestling, right now. There's something to watch every day. And we cover most of it on the Multiverse of Media. So there's something to do every day as a result. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not having everybody be one company and less to get enthused about. Talking about Wrestle Dream, kind of not feeling as hype as it should be, considering it's a tribute to Antonio Inoki, the great Antonio Inoki, as it was built. And you've got a solid card here, yes, but it doesn't really feel like it's must-see TV. Like I am willing to pay the $50 for this show. It's a tribute to Inoki, but it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of, yes, you have stars that have appeared in New Japan, but other than Kota Ibushi and oh god, I can never remember his name to save my ass, or at least how to pronounce it, so forgive me. I'm going to look this up and be that guy because I don't want to mispronounce it or misstate it. Don't worry about the chat room coming, because I'm thinking of more than one person when I'm saying here. So just bear with me here. Shibata. Shibata's there. You've got Kota Ibushi on this show. Will Ospreay, who's been primarily a New Japan star, if we're being honest. Zack Sabre Jr., who's New Japan Television Champion. There is a New Japan presence, but it doesn't feel like what it was originally billed as, which was a combined effort show. I don't know why it was billed as co-promoted. At least when I first saw the announcement that it was going to be, Omega also made his name in Japan, but he's been an AEW guy for 4 years now. Same with the Bucks. I just don't know. It definitely feels like there's just not enough oomph, I guess, is the best way I can put it without sounding too technical. I'm looking forward to both shows. I'm looking forward to watching them both back when I settle in from the convention after 2 days of immersion in Haddonfield, if I'm being honest. It's going to be cool to see quality professional wrestling / sports entertainment. But I'm not overly mad at missing them in real time. I'm bummed I don't get to have, the experience of having Noah and JJ call the show in real time as it happens. But the show itself, I'm kind of like, I can catch it later. That's cool. It just, for me, it feels more like a special presentation more than a pay-per-view. Like these card matches could be laid out over, a pair of Dynamites or a Dynamite Rampage or a Dynamite Collision. Just kind of like, okay, cool. Just, that's for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, not doing what I usually do, and just let it be, right? So anyway, I think I've rambled long enough about what I wanted to ramble. I'm going to go into the ridiculous chill portion of the show. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to first talk about, I'm only not, JJ, since you're here, I'm not running the pay-per-view watch along because they added another one to us this morning. Deadline is now a thing for NXT. So there you go. All right, we have a super chat, so we'll go ahead and acknowledge, and we'll read it off. CJ with $5. Thank you, CJ. Much appreciated. Says, where on the list of most underrated, underutilized would I put Dolph Ziggler? P.S. Screw WW. I don't agree with the last 3 words, but okay. I don't know if I'd rank Nick Dolph underutilized. And I only say that because he was very much the utility man, right? He was very much that guy. And, former world champion, intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, tag team champion, part of a storyline involving the McMahons and DX for a while he was on the roster. Elevated the Miz's game to no friggin' end. Underutilized, underrated. No, I think Dolph has gotten his due, and I think that he would agree with me saying that. I think Dolph Ziggler is going to have a good legacy on the wrestling side of things to leave behind now that he's no longer at the company. And I'm not saying he's done with wrestling either. For the record, I don't know that. I don't know that he is not going to go join his brother in AEW, or whether he's going to be in wrestling at all. I think that the idea that he was underappreciated and deserved better, I think, is arguable. Underappreciated maybe by certain people in the company, but I think that if he felt like that, he didn't outwardly show it. And I think that had he been underappreciated enough, he would have asked for a release a long time ago. So that's my story on Nick Nemeth, and I'm sticking to it, by God. Anyway, so as far as pay-per-view premium live events, we'll talk about that more after Wrestle Dream, at least on the video side of things. But what I can tell you is what's coming up on our open mic night special presentations. So that is what's coming up in the next year or so. So be on the lookout for those across Multiverse. For now, big weekend coming up, as I've talked about pretty much all day. But you want to make sure you stick with the Cassidy Studios for the remainder of the week as JJ finishes out his movie reviews featuring school set movies as far as back to school month for September. And of course, next month, Stephen King on Renegades Reviews, 31 days of classic horror. So that'll be awesome. So check that out coming up starting October 1st. Very, very cool. Looking forward to that. Simply Predicting coming up. Let me get rid of that stupid logo. I'm so stupid. I love logo. I appreciate it being made. Noah and JD will be Simply Predicting No Mercy coming up tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. Yes, we know it's during SmackDown. Wah, get over it. They'll be predicting that show. And then, of course, we will have Simply Predicting for Wrestle Dream coming up Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern. And then we get into watch along mode as NXT presents No Mercy. That is at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. We'll be going live with our pre-show shenanigans. And of course, the pay-per-view premium live event will be, I believe, at 8 o'clock Eastern. Open mic night right after that, of course. And then Sunday, Wrestle Dream from Seattle. Again, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. That's a very busy graphic. I just realized how busy that is. My goodness. That is all coming up this weekend. And of course, next week we resume our usual schedule of shenanigans with Beach's Musings, Stat Boy Sports Bar, The Greg Cherry Show, this show, Talk Wrestling, and Dad's will be next week as well. So be on the lookout for that. Want to say goodnight tonight with sending out a shout out to all of the male children in our we got 1 second super chat, $2. Thank you to Matthew Garrett. What is this new era you reckon? That's Tony Khan thing. Tony Khan thing. I mean, it could be a possible purchase of another company. We'll have to wait and see. Before the Catholic gets himself in a tizzy about talking about the male children of the world. Happy National Sons Day to everybody out there that has a son, is a father of a son. Of course, that's my boy there. So happy National Sons Day to everybody out there that has a male child. I said male, not man, you dork. Anyway, thank you all for watching all day. Meacham was running wild today across the multiverse, baby. I was on Jack of all trades. Came in second place. So proud of that very much. Did the preview predictions for No Mercy and Wrestle Dream for NoDQ. Of course, you can check out, again, something predicting coming up for our side of things, the Cassidy Studios side of things, and the Simple Man brand tomorrow and and Saturday. And then, of course, I'll watch along this Saturday and Sunday, open mic night Saturday. Thank you all very much for watching this abbreviated, I grant you, episode of Talk Wrestling. Didn't have a lot to say today. I want to make sure I got my shit in, Brian Cage style. We will see you guys next week here on Talk Wrestling and all weekend throughout the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.